This is Claude. And they just got $13 billion to destroy ChatGPT and Microsoft. But are they about to make $1 billion marketing mistake? No, it's not the fact that their logo looks like a butthole.
Bruh.
Their big mistake is running ads to a landing page that looks like this. After building over 600 landing pages in 120 niches, including for billion-dollar brands like Linktree and Wayflyer, today I'm going to totally transform their landing page from this to this. I'm going to tear down their current page and show you step by step how to make a new one. Let's get started. So this is their current page, and I'm going to be breaking it down by the 4 pillars that I'm always auditing for on a page. In a little bit, I want to show you more of like some of their funnel and things to think about. But for now, this is the before and this is the after. Let's break it down and let's get started with the above the fold. So the above the fold is our most important real estate, and it needs to be congruent with what ads got the click. At the moment, we'll put them up on screen. These are the types of ads that are getting clicks through to this page. And you can see that a lot of them are actually coming from, maybe they're affiliates or partners, whatever, but a lot of these are big names like Ali Abdaal. And then they're clicking to this. Now, when somebody lands here, they're going to be thinking, so what? Who cares? What's in it for me? But because of this current page and it's so broad, it doesn't actually land with anybody. So when I'm creating this new page, the first thing I have to think is who? Who is this page going to be for? Now, if I was doing Claude's marketing, obviously, if you're a Claude marketer, I probably know that you have a lot of constraints that are going on and a lot of people that have opinions. But for any marketing that I do with big budgets, little budgets, the thing that I want to get clear on is the who, okay? And I would end up having multiple different pages for different people. Now, what's one way I could figure this out? In Claude's multi-step, they are asking a question like this. What topics are you looking to explore? And then I imagine they also have this data. Okay, where do you want to start? So I would be choosing, cool, what is getting clicked the most? And for this, I'm going to make the assumption that it is writing and content creation. Based on some very loose research that I did for this video and for other things that I've done, I'm going to go with freelancers, freelance marketers, freelance content creators, right? Because I imagine there's a big enough pain point and a big enough market. Now, I also chose this market because when I'm choosing a market, I want to think who is most susceptible. And the person that is most likely to adopt Claude from a cold traffic source is going to be somebody who has used AI before and is probably comparing them to other sources. It might be too much of a stretch to try and convince somebody to use AI for the first time. So that's how I think about this page. Now, if we compare the above the folds, aka the most important real estate, we have to think when somebody lands here after a click, are they going to keep reading from impossible possible? Does that tell them, so what, who cares, what's in it for me? Does it tell them how we can help their life? Or does this above the fold help? Claude helps you create human quality content at AI speed so you can move faster and serve more clients without burning out. I'm going to start breaking these down. But how did I come up with this? Well, what I did is in our community, The Obsessed, we help people to make landing pages and funnels, etc., which means I already have all of the AI prompting and all of the templates to do this. Effectively, marketing is just inputs and outputs, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're not very clear on your target market, their language, the words that they use, your sales page, your landing page is going to fall very, very flat. And that is the first ingredient, is the who, the target market. So for this, I've chosen Mark Smith. I've done all of my research with all of my prompting. And now I have all of the demographics, the crappy before state, the desired after state, etc. So I have a pretty clear idea of who this is, why they wouldn't use it, and what is their dream outcome. Remembering Claude as an AI tool, that's not really what they sell. We never sell a product or a service. We sell a desired after state. We sell an end goal. That's the assumption I'm making for this. So Claude helps you create human quality content at AI speed, because in this document, it was saying, or this research, that they're worried that like the AIs that they've used like ChatGPT don't sound authentic. It doesn't have the right tonality. So I need to put that into here and enter the conversation they're having above the fold. Now, you can also see I've just used their existing thing here, but I would probably have more of a video like if I was going to get paid to do this. And then I would make sure that we have a really strong offer. So, okay, if most of the traffic, like again, I have to make a few assumptions, but if a lot of the traffic is coming from that Ali Abdaal ad, then cool. Well, why don't we have a 7-day free trial of Claude Pro? Because remembering that on this page over here, we have the above the fold, all right? So it's like straight away, I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of people are bouncing because it's just like not answering, so what, who cares what's in it for me? And then it goes down to here for Meet Claude, and there's nothing again that talks about what problem it solves or show them that they understand the person here. It's very selfish, right? A lot of businesses, especially a lot of tech businesses do this. They have the curse of knowledge and they find it hard to articulate the benefits of their tech platform, and they get very obsessed with features, which is awesome. And that's why Claude does so well. I love Claude. I use it every day. That's why it does so well, because, you know, they're always making new product features, but then they struggle to articulate that in their marketing for a colder audience. And that's usually where they get stuck with scaling. All right. So after this, which doesn't tell me anything and doesn't contextualize into my life at all, we go straight into the plans. Okay. And we're kind of like assuming that people are going to understand, access more Claude models, for example. I use it. I don't really know what that means. Unlimited projects to organize chats. They don't even know what projects are. So unlock deep research tools. Maybe they could do this. Extended thinking for like none of this. You haven't built the case for any of this. You haven't sold me on needing any of this. So why would I go with Pro? I would make the assumption that probably a lot of people are trying free. But again, marketing needs to attach to the business's goals. So if our business's goal was for us to get more people on Pro, okay, we might have to test different offers. This is just an example of an offer, right? If you had Claude's budget, you'd be testing a lot. Start your free 7-day trial of Claude Pro. So just get them in there, get them using it. But what I find a lot of tech companies fail to do is they don't build any competitive moat around their software, right? And especially at the moment, software is becoming easier and easier to build. Obviously, companies like Claude and ChatGPT have a huge advantage with funding and they're ahead of everybody else. But in any case, that to me is not a reason to get complacent in your marketing. So we have our target market, but one of the other big pillars is, okay, well, what's our offer? So yes, of course, part of our offer is to try Claude for 7 days, fine. But what else can we give? And we always want to think, okay, what would be something that we could give them to enable the adoption of Claude? Well, again, because I'm a greedy little marketer and I saw that they have Ali Abdaal, I would want to do something like a freelance mastery masterclass. Get Ali Abdaal to make an hour video on that. And it's all about how he uses Claude and it's for free. And it's like, wow, it's a value add. And they watch that straight away. And Ali's like, this is how I do this, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. And then we have the call to action. So it's a much cleaner above the fold. Now, obviously, potentially, it would be better to leave this here, right? Or to have continue with Google or whatever, but it could just go to the next page. So it might just start into a flow like this and then go into there. Anyway, back to the landing page. Okay. So we have the above the fold and you can see that on mobile, it's all fitting above the fold as well. Potentially, I would just drop that from the mobile. Now, the big thing that I feel like is missing from this page is any element of humanness. And that's one of the things at the moment with AI is people worried AI is going to replace me or take my job. There's still a lot of friction against the clankers. So how do we make this feel more human? And how do we make it feel like other humans are using this as well, right? And that's the third pillar I want to tell you about, which is social proof. Straight away, these are all people who are running these partner ads, we'll call them. So you can put a little verification tick, use their actual images. If I wanted to juice this up, I would have their followers underneath. And then potentially as well, to juice it up, I would show how they use it. You might have Ali Abdaal is using it for this, right? And have something like that. Now you could have this scrolling and on mobile, it would just be scrolling like that. All right. So that's kind of our above the fold. And straight away we have proof. Then we get into the benefits. Now with these benefits, landing pages, I go into the prompting and then I come up with the big benefits. All right, so they're like this in your workbook, but you can only come up with these if you have a market, right? And that's kind of like the breakdown here. These are very generic. Like they mean nothing to nobody. So what if we're working on freelancers? His name is Mark Smith. He's a content freelancer. And now we can have their subheadline, how Claude helps freelancers work smarter, not harder. And then you can see here, we're starting to break down these big benefits. Now at the start, it says all your client information in one spot. Boom, because from the research that we did, that's an input. And this is the assumption I have to make. That's the frustration they have with other tools. Claude Projects creates persistent workspaces that remember your clients' brand guidelines forever. No more starting from scratch every conversation. Again, I have to assume this, but bloody hell, that's something that annoys me about other stuff. And then key benefits here. Easy to read, and then you can have these little things moving around like they had in here. Okay, write authentic copy, not robotic. That's like a very simple subhead that I've written up here. Constitutional AI. So this is the feature, but no one cares. When I'm working with like tech companies like this, I will do the feature. I'll want to integrate the feature, but then I want to have the benefit, and then I want to have the contextualized outcome, the contextualized benefit. So the feature is the constitutional AI. Like that doesn't mean anything to anybody. You have to wrap it up in a benefit. So constitutional AI benefit makes Claude inherently more helpful, harmless, and honest, right? Okay, whatever. Like that's the feature, that's the benefit. So what, who cares? What's in it for me? The contextualized is your content sounds authentically human, not robotic. And from my research, that's one of the things that these people are really worried about, is that their content is going to sound robotic. And then their clients are going to be annoyed because it sounds generic and shitty, right? So that's one thing that we want to have on here. Then we have handle client work losing context. That might not be perfect. Claude's 200K token context window processes 150,000 plus words into one conversation. Work with entire brand Bibles and competitor research without forgetting details. So see how we're contextualizing feature, context, feature, benefit, contextualize benefit, and then we just literally land out the benefits. So what we're doing in the copy now is, yes, we have the benefits, but we're doing something called connecting the chain of logic. So we're not leaving it up to them to understand. Draft and iterate on websites, graphics, documents, and code alongside your chat with artifacts. I don't understand that at all. And I love Claude. I love you guys. I hope you make more money. But this doesn't talk to anybody, right? Whereas over here, you can see Mark Smith lands on this page and he's like, oh, I understand how this is going to be useful in my life and how this is going to help me. Then we've got edit content in real time, blah, 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 maintain consistent voice across all clients. So what we're doing here is telling them, okay, this is how it's going to benefit you. Now coming over to the mobile version, we could have this in a slider where you swipe, or we can do forced consumption. What I would do is I would have Microsoft Clarity, which is literally free, recording my user sessions, and then I would be watching how people use them. And I would be looking, because obviously most people are going to come from mobile if it's a Facebook ad, right? And I'd be looking to see, okay, what's the scroll depth? I would be looking to see what's the scroll depth. And on mobile, maybe they only get to here. Like most of them only get to here. However, sometimes you have to be careful about that, right? Because the page will never convert at 100%. So sometimes what you find is, although you might get like 40% or 30% of people reaching here, well, maybe the buyers are the ones who scroll the whole page, right? So that's why often I am trying to get above the fold everything that they need to make a buyer decision question, like a buying decision. So the other way you could power up the above the fold is to think about, okay, what other friction or what else would they need to see above the fold to make a decision, and probably have them in little bullet points above the fold. Okay, right. We've covered panel one, we've covered social proof, we've covered target market, social proof, the offer, okay? The next is like the messaging and the differentiation, but you can see this throughout the copy. I haven't done this in as much detail as I usually would for a client or in our program, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to layer in more of it. Above the fold, we've got the social proof, we've got the benefits, And then again, we go into here. Now, I don't know if we can use Jeff Sue's video, but I'm sure if he was getting more promotion, he might not mind. Now, what's interesting about this, when I typed Claude into YouTube, just trying to do my research, this was one of the first videos that popped up. This guy has 1.42 million subscribers, and this is like a social proof jacking, right? Like it's like, okay, a real human uses this, and we can show you why. And it says, why Jeff Sue switched 50% of his AI work to Claude. Awesome. Okay, so people can watch this. Or of course, you can make your own video, but I think it just helps to contextualize and show how people are using this. Again, making sure that this page is our digital salesperson and we're actually contextualizing why someone should use it. I would just literally have a section that says 8 reasons why freelancers and marketers love Claude. And then from my research, I would be pulling out from the pain points, the goals, the dream outcome, the buyer decision questions, all of this stuff that I understand about the market. And then I would put them into bullets. Boom. And it's easy to read and then go, yes, 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 yes. I should try this. Now, throughout the page, you can kind of see I start to break it up with different social proof. And I think you can almost feel as a human, just seeing like a little bit more color. I'll talk about the call to action button in a second. A little bit more color and a little bit more like humanness on it. It makes you feel like better. Even just looking at this as like a human, this just feels nicer. And often with your marketing, like it's an art and a science, right? Which means that yes, we want to look at the data and we want to have our quantitative numbers, but still you want to like use your intuition and understand, okay, does this feel better to look at? And it does. All right. Then we have another, I couldn't find too much like easily accessible social proof. And when I work with clients, they can tell me that. So you might just have like another panel here. For us, literally, Claude, research used to take me like 100 hours, 40 hours, whatever, depending on how big the client was. Now I can do it super quick. Like with this stuff that we teach in our community, the Obsessed, you can do it in a couple of hours. It's freaking insane, like how strong AI is now. So you can just literally have that little excerpt here. I'm going to talk about the call to action now. Let's break this down. Now, the call to action, I have a full video you can go and watch on this, but it actually tells them like what to do and what they're going to get. Then underneath the call to action, we have this line, which is like our friction remover, right? This removes the friction of clicking. Now, there might be other things you use in SaaS, like depends if it's a demo, depends if it is actually getting them to sign up. There's so many different offers you can do in like SaaS, but you might have like no credit card down or cancel anytime and stuff. So you might have like cancel anytime there instead, but I've gone with that. Okay, again, on my mission to contextualize the benefits of what Claude does, what can Claude help you with? And so I've literally researched using our prompts, cool, and our copywriting. What are they going to care about? Because what we want to do is to connect that chain of logic. We want them imagining what it's going to look like in their life and understanding what they're going to be able to do. Oh my gosh, team, my camera overheated, but I cannot be stopped. We are going to finish this landing page video for Claude. To recap, there are 4 key components that I'm looking at when I want to make a high converting landing page. The first is the target market. Who are we talking to? This is a sales page, a digital sales person, and it needs to be talking to one person. It needs to feel like one-to-one communication. That means we need to be using their language, their dog whistle language, we call it. How do they describe their problem? How do they describe their dream outcome? And how do we get it so that when they are reading the copy, they are thinking, yes, this is for me. You understand me. The next big one is the messaging and the differentiation. How do we make you not just better, but different? Okay, well, what have they already tried before? Have they already tried other AI? Because if we just sound like more of the same of what they've already tried, there's no way in hell they're going to spend money with us or use us. The next one is the social proof. And you can see this throughout the page, which especially for this brand adds a little bit more humanness. Now, there's different ways to display social proof. You'll notice I don't really use any just slapping on testimonial sliders, right? There's interesting ways to use social proof. One way would be to have Ali Abdaal and all of these people and show actually the work that they use, because there's different ways to structure your social proof. And then the 4th other big pillar that we spoke about is the offer. Don't get complacent. Don't assume people understand that like what you do and they actually can contextualize the benefits. So we have maybe I'll show you the mobile as well. We have the above the fold. We have social proof. We go into the benefits. Technically, I would normally do a little bit more problem agitate, but I just don't know enough about the market. So in any case, this shows us a little bit more, right? Then again, more proof. Okay, who's using this? We're always looking for proof externally to ourselves. That's how a lot of people buy, to know whether I want to use this tool. Okay, 8 reasons why. Make it easy for me to make a decision. Tell me, connect the chain of logic. Why do people use this? Remembering marketing's inputs and outputs. We already have that AI, that avatar document we made with our AI research from the program. So we can come in and we can put these in. Have another proof. Then we're contextualizing that dream outcome. Okay, well, here's what you can use Claude for. And this is where you could show like more graphically how they can use Claude, blogs, social media posts, etc. That can open you up to a can of worms because some of that stuff can be a little bit subjective, but it's just an idea. Then there's how it works. Okay, cool. Explain to me, give me operational transparency, remove the friction, remove the uncertainty. What happens next, right? And then the offer. Great, start using us and the FAQs. And then this is how it looks on mobile. Potentially that into a sliding banner. Again, I would use Microsoft Clarity to understand all of these things. Now, some people might be thinking, oh my God, that's way too long. No, it's not. This is our digital salesperson, and we would never limit a real salesperson and what they could say, right? So we need to say as much to convince them to take the next step, to persuade them to take the next step. That's what needs to go onto this page. So team, I hope you enjoyed that Claude breakdown. And I hope you can see the difference between their old page and their new page. And I hope you can see with the landing pages, it's not an afterthought, right? It's a whole campaign, and we have to be very strategic about this. So for those of you that do want to create your own high converting landing page, you can come and join me in the Obsessed. That is my community. One of the very first programs you'll do out of many is to create your own high converting landing page. I take you through step by step, all the way from my masterclasses in copy, in offers, in the landing page masterclass, and then step by step to create your avatar with all of my AI prompting, step by step to make the strategy and to think about your landing page, step by step to create your offer, your high converting offer, step by step to write your copy, and then step by step to design and build it with all of my templates ready for you to plug and play and create your own high converting landing page. Additionally to that, within the community, you will then send that into our Q&A and you will ask me to review your landing page. I'll shoot you back a Zoom video, or you can come into our live hot seats and I can break down your landing page and help you make it even better. Awesome. Other than that, if you're looking for an agency to do all of this for you, you can use the other link in the description and book in a call with me to see if myself and my agency are the right fit to scale you if you're a premium brand looking for qualified leads. And if neither of those are for you on your choose your own adventure, then watch this video next that YouTube is recommending. See you in the next video.